Hey gamers, welcome back to Fire Chicken Review. Today we're going to be talking about the Keyforge Winds of Exchange update number 5 by Ghost Galaxy. There's a little bit of a controversy where backers thought that the stretch goals were going to be per pledge versus Ghost Galaxy announcing that it was going to be per backer. Reason why that's going to be important right up at the front is that some backers, including myself, are backing with a group to save on shipping, and it doesn't make total sense on the backer side of view why it's per backer versus per pledge, and I'll dive more into that. As well, at the end, we're going to be talking about some stretch goals that we would like to see come out and some ideas. And sound off in the comments what you think would be some cool stretch goals. So let's dive right into it. Keyforge is back. Love this little piece of art. Maybe it's only me, but this little green Martian kind of reminds me of like a mix between the Green Goblin, because obviously the green, and this almost looks like the Green Goblin's glider, and Mega Man, because this looks like Mega Man's like gun that he has on him. But that's just me. Love the piece of art. Love that saying Keyforge is back. And what also is cool, I didn't mention it in my intro here, but they dive right in talking about some new stuff that came out. So they're talking about the Savior of Dex, and I would like to know more information about the Saber decks. So they say it's going to be tournament legal, but I think what a lot of backers want to see, because they added the Saber of Keyforge decks as an add-on. I think it's about 16.99. Let me double check here. Go to the add-ons, and we can see that it is 16.99 US. So they added this item here. What a lot of backers, including myself, would like to see is to actually see like a template of what this might look like, because maybe I'm going to be interested in buying more. As it is, I might pick up one or two more, but if they showed just an example one, I know that will bring a lot of interest and potentially raise more funds. Because if you're telling me this is a game found exclusive, like they mentioned in the comment here, then that sounds like something that a lot of backers may want to consider, right? So this is a game found, but it says campaign exclusive, which is aka game found exclusive. So I thought that might have been something they added for other stuff. But if this is the only spot, that means there's a very limited print right now, just over 2,000 backers, which means that there's 2,000 plus however many additional ones people get. So that might be a spicy item to add. But the other item I want to talk about here, and I'll link it, the updates here, is that there's already some content creators that have gotten spoilers from Ghost Galaxy. As you can see, Archon's Corner and Wild Wormhole spoiled 2 cards each. I'm also have been lucky, and on the 13th of September, if you haven't seen my other videos talking about it yet, I'll be spoiling on Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, 2 spoiler cards. So if you consider liking and subscribing to the channel, especially if you subscribe, you'll be the first to get the notification. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till I get back home from work, and I'll be putting up the video for everyone else for that. So, getting into the first issue, like I mentioned, diving into it, can you get multiple stretch goals rewards if you pledge multiple at a time? And they say, sorry, no, the unlocked stretch goals are provided on a per backer basis, not a per pledge, which is very confusing to a lot of backers, including myself. I didn't realize this. Due to their unfamiliarity with some aspects of GameFound, because again, this is coming from basically they're used to dealing with retail. They've never been on GameFound before. There was some recent confusion on this point. We have added the Unlock Stretch Goals awards to the products listing to each pledge reward. AK, that means to communicate that as backers would get these stretch goals so that they wouldn't be confused, right? However, this led to some to think, understandably, that they would get multiple sets of the stretch goals if they ordered multiple pledges. This is not the case, and we've moved to mentioning of the stretch goal rewards from the product listing to the high-level description of the pledge. If you have ordered multiple of a pledge only because you thought that you would get multiple sets of the unlock stretch goal rewards, we advise that you cancel these extra pledges. So this is an unfortunate line that obviously Ghost Galaxy does not want to have, and as backers, the overall sense here. Hopefully, we can communicate with Ghost Galaxy and see if there's anything around this, because it doesn't make sense on the backer side of you. It does make sense on the company side of you, because they already planned for how much shipping is going to cost, and they've already planned this is how many backers and this is how much potential we have, right? So why does this not make sense on the backers point of view? fairly straightforward. We thought that if we group up with some friends and we add multiple pledges together, then we'll be able to get multiple add-ons, right? And also, the reason why this originally came about was that when you look at the campaign here and you look at the rewards, you get the same stretch goal rewards for backing at a $50 pledge level versus backing at the pledge level I'm at in the corner here, 750. So I've backed at over 10 times the amount. Again, I'm backing with some friends buying some displays off of me. Uh, but we get the exact same stretch goals. So there's a reason why this is. So on the backer side, we're a little bit disappointed, right? Because we want to save on the shipping, because as you know, shipping is getting quite expensive. So maybe we just go with one friend. So now we're being told that if we want these multiple sets of stretch goals, that we're going to have to go in together. Not going together, we're gonna have to do separate pledges, and it's a very odd item because now there's going to be people, and I don't think it's wrong, that are going to try to get around this by just pledging using different accounts. It might be going to the same address, but pledging going to different accounts. And honestly, at the $50 and $65 level, when you look at the stretch goals, um, these are pretty good already, right? Because you're getting an additional deck that's going to be special, the Savior of Keyforge, which is pretty cool idea. And coming up shortly, you're going to get an Unchained deck. For this that $65 pledge level here, which is just decks. Now you're getting six decks, six normal decks, and two unique special decks that one's unique to the Game Found campaign, and the other one isn't going to be like tournament legal or anything like that. But in addition to all of that, you're also getting the tokens, right? You're getting a set of one set of the token creatures, which is just one of the houses, which is a $10. So you're getting a $10 value, another what you're getting a $17 value, and what I would assume is another $17 value because the Unchained one has been added to the add-ons, which I do hope it gets added. But you're getting over 30, $40 of stretch goals that have already basically been unlocked, because this is basically unlocked. So you're getting like 40 US dollars worth of stretch goals for a $65 pledge, and then for the $750 pledge, the highest one, just to compare the most two extremes, basically, you're only getting the same amount. That seems kind of odd, and I understand that. And now remember that the Novice of the Crucible was something that they added because people just want decks only. But sorry, the Seeker of Decks, I said the Novice of the Crucible, was added because people want decks. But the Novice of the Crucible, the one that comes with the starter box, was already there. So again, $50 versus 750. So again, the two extremes there, getting the same amount of stretch goals. And the two reasons why this is confusing for backers, and there's multiple reasons beyond those two, is that every campaign that I've ever seen on GameFound, Kickstarter, or crowdfunding in general, has always been per pledge you got the rewards, and that makes the most amount of sense. Like if you look at a most recent Sorcery Contested Realms, which I also backed, what they did, because it's another card game, they basically said right in the stretch goals, they said, hey, it's per booster box. This one is going to be another one that's per booster box. And then they have some items that were just going to be potentially added in as a chance to get for this, right? So this was, it makes a lot of sense that they have box toppers and stuff like that. Now, this is a full TCG, but the idea that it's per box makes sense. Now, maybe giving like token creatures and stuff like that, not having all the stretch goals be per box, but something like having a Savior of Keyforge, if that was per display, that makes a lot of sense. And having the Unchained deck per display would also potentially make sense because you're adding more value to Ghost Galaxy. But on their side, it's costing them more money. Now, there's a third caveat to this, is that I think one of the things that they did up front is they put the inherent value, which I'll link my other video if you haven't seen what I consider the original 5, now 6 pledge levels, which one's the best. I think Reapers of the Amber is the one that's most likely, but these already have basically unlocked stretch goals, because what campaigns and creators used to do was that they made say, hey, we're going to do stuff that we're already planning on giving you, and so they instead of doing that, they put the inherent value, because all of these pledges, the way I make it easier in my own brain is that I just consider how many decks am I getting, and I'm dividing that per display. So for $150, I'm getting 12 decks is what I consider, and everything else is an add-on. So the retail value is now $13 a deck. You don't have to do the math. Basically, this would come to 156 retail because you get 12 decks, but you're getting it for 150. They're saying, hey, here's how much value you're saving. I don't consider any of the other items stuff that people would potentially buy, unless it's onesies or twosies. So I consider that all as basically unlock stretch goals from the beginning. So what do I mean by that? I mean that if one of the reasons probably we're not seeing as like lucrative stretch goals for the higher pledge levels is those pledge levels already have the value added to it, is what I mean. So they said, hey, you get to name a deck. They've already mentioned that. You get 2 playmats. What they could have done is that they could have done it and said, oh, you're just getting 12 decks and you're getting 1 playmat, and then and they said, hey, when we get to the stretch goal, oh, you'll unlock the second playmat. Oh, when we get to this stretch goal, this tier, oh, you'll unlocked a deck that you can name. And then a new stretch goal, they can say, oh, you unlock this playmat that will match the deck that you can name, right? So instead of doing that, they just put all the value, in my opinion, up front, saying, hey, no matter what, we're going to give you this. And so people went and backed at the various levels. So that makes a lot of sense in the aspect that these already have, and let me know in the comments if it makes sense to you, but to me, these already basically have stretch goals that have been inputted into it for the higher pledge levels. Like when I look at the Turner of Keys, like this has a bunch of items like the Fuzzy Garoon. I consider a stretch goal item because at 750, when you divide that by 6 box displays, it comes to 125 US per display, which is cheaper. It's a little bit of savings on what the retail cost of a display would be when you're talking about MSRP. So everything else to me, in the way I look at it in my brain, means that these are all stretch goals. Fuzzy Gruen is easy value. Being able to name decks, having extra playmats, and all these little vinyl figurines, those are all extra value. And something that is an easy extra value when you click on it, like this is going to cost 60 US if you want to add an additional one, right? So these are all things that I consider stretch goals that have already been unlocked. So they're not calling them stretch goals; they just put it in there. So that makes a lot of sense, and I do dig that, right? But going back, as they said, that they can't offer this. Hopefully, they consider changing their mind and consider trying some items out. So what they could potentially do is they don't need to go back and change any of the current stretch goals, but maybe they'll consider stretch goals that release just for the higher pledge levels. So they'll say that, hey, at this pledge level or higher, which various campaigns have done in the past, you're going to unlock this. So what it does is it incentivizes backers saying, hey, maybe I will buy another display, or maybe I'll get a little bit more. And I think the biggest jump that they should look at, right, is getting people out of just buying the starter set or 6 decks, and like potentially incentivize the people that get at least 1 display and higher, which isn't too unreasonable, but it is a little bit extra of a cost. That, oh, here's some new stretch goals that we're going to add to these specifically only. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. It is interesting, the differences that they did. Like I wouldn't have thought that they would have added at the lower tier, at the $50 and $65 tier, 2 additional decks. And remember that if you pre-signed up, you got an old set deck, so you're getting potentially up to 3 decks for 50 or 60 US dollars for free for those as stretch goals, I should say. compared to the higher tiers where it makes a little bit more sense, plus the token creatures. So that's why I think about this. Again, very small controversy. And the reason why I say it's a small controversy is that I don't really think it's in a conflict of interest outside of I still want to back and get as many of my friends and member community members within the local area to all go in and get multiple pledges under like one or two people, because shipping, if you're outside of the US, me being in Canada, it does help save money, right? So getting six displays here versus just getting like a secret of decks, which is only six decks, um, you save quite a bit, right? You're getting 72 decks versus the six decks here. So just getting like, I don't know, two displays, that would be like maybe if you were buying multiple of these, it's going to be what, 20, 30, 40 bucks already, because they said it's going to be about 50% of the highest tier that you get for additional pledges. So it just makes sense to get try to reduce the shipping by grouping up, and shipping doesn't add any actual value to Ghost Galaxy. So this is another reason that they should potentially consider changing their minds on this, because there is ways around it that backers potentially will do. Hopefully they don't for the most part. And I just hate seeing that they're talking about if you made multiple, consider canceling those extra pledges, because that's money going away from them, right? Um, and then they talk about when buying multiple pledges or when adding add-ons, shipping will be higher. But they said that they're estimating that it's going to be basically 50%, like I just said, of your highest tier. So that you're going to save on shipping. So people are going to want to bundle up together, right? So these are conflicting, saying, hey, um, you can't get multiple stretch goals, but you can save on shipping. Well, could you potentially consider changing that? And there's going to be a lot of vocal people. And if you're one of the people that wants to be vocal, you can just go into the comments section, and you can see stuff about suggestions and stuff like that. So remember that you can add a hashtag, and when you see a hashtag, you can go through and see some of the other hashtags that have shared that. So suggestion, or in this case, you can talk about, I would do a hashtag stretch goals, and really put your voice to it. So getting out of that though, let's talk about some more potential stretch goals that they can add, right? Because we're talking about, and maybe they'll have something after the 400 that will be in between the language ones here. Some of the additional stretch goals that would be interesting to see is there's a variety of ones that come to mind. The first one would be potentially considering doing a special treatment to all of the cards that are through the game found. So the print run for the game found could be unique. It wouldn't cost them any additional money outside of just changing, like just maybe something small, like changing the backs of the cards so it has something. It maybe it's going to be too similar to their Savor of Keyforge, because they're talking about something here, but I almost feel like maybe they're doing like a foil treatment or something like that. But you can do that, or they can add stretch goals that would be interesting to the Game Found campaign, where um, they could have alt art cards built into the algorithm, where only in the Game Found campaign there's a few of the cards that have a chance. Instead of being the normal card, it's like either like a full bleed or just an alternate art, which we've seen in storefront competitions. So if they have the capacity, this would be a stretch goal that would be interesting in my view, because it doesn't cost them too much additional funds, and it wouldn't cost them anything more to print or anything more to ship, because all it would be is that you would have a chance that one of your decks could have this. So things like that, of like having like maybe chaser decks where it's just alternate art cards, or something like we've seen in previous sets like the Evil Twins or something, but something that is game found exclusive outside of maybe later on in like tournaments and whatnot would be a fun stretch goal that they could potentially consider adding. And not all of these have to be monetary built in. They could also consider doing social goals that saying, hey, if we get so many likes on Board Game Geek or on Facebook, etc., Twitter, whatever you want to talk about for social media, they could use that as getting some of these items that aren't additional physical items, but digital items. And speaking about digital items, another one that comes to mind would be they could also, if they're still considering giving you an amber per deck, they could say that, hey, for everyone that is pledging, we're going to give you additional amber. So they could say that maybe you'll get a bonus amber per deck, or they could say, depending on the pledge level, they could just literally insert an additional card into your pledge. That's just a QR code, or send you an when you finalize your pledge, they can send you like a QR thing that says, "Hey, scan this, and you get X amount of bonus amber." And if you're not sure what that is, I recommend checking out their main website and checking out what the amber is. We're not sure how Ghost Galaxy is going to be utilizing that as yet, but that's something small that they could do. So those are some of the stretch goals that come to mind that they could add additionally. I think that the ones that they already have are super cool. I like the token creatures. I do like the Savior of Keyforge. And again, I do hope that they show sometime during the campaign before it closes what is the Savior of Keyforge, like what can we expect, because I don't find there's enough information. Are we talking about foiled? Is it just going to be a different type of back? Just a little bit more information, because if it's something that I think is interesting, I would probably want to get like maybe even 2, 3, 6 a display, and if it's cool enough, I think people will actually ask, say, hey, add in the add-ons a full display of this, because that seems cool. And the same with the Unchained decks. The reason I don't think this is in the add-ons as of yet is that we technically haven't hit this stretch goal, and you can have a read here, but it's basically just saying it's going to be the Wild Wild West. It's going to be making unique decks that don't have any potential structures behind it, just 100% it could be whatever type of thing, which seems really cool. And I know a lot of my friends have already been saying, hey, if they add this, I'll add more. So those are my stretch goals. I know that, and some add-ons mentioned, but I know that the personalized decks, I don't think they're going to have that in the add-ons. A lot of people have been vocal saying, hey, can I have that? I don't think that's going to come out. But overall, this campaign has been doing extremely well. Over just 380,000, 2,000 backers so far, and we got 15 days to go. So keep on checking out their updates, because you're going to see most likely more content come out. Will pass through some of those stretch goals. Let me know what you think of the campaign so far. Have you backed or not? And are you concerned about the stretch goals? I'm not, but overall, there's just voicing the idea of, should it be per pledge or should it be per backer? So that's all for tonight. If this was useful in any way, consider liking, subscribing to the channel for more Keyforge content coming up in the near future. That's all. Bye now.